Well, good morning. This is just an interesting morning, In a pretty okay mood this morning, as you can see, because it's amazing how much exercise affects mood, even if it sucks while you're doing it. But I'm telling you, after not exercising for like a month and a half, almost 2 months, just being a couch potato and drinking and eating a bunch of unhealthy crap, when I exercised this morning, after I finished it, boom, felt amazing. Woke me up better than coffee. Like, lifestyle, man. Lifestyle is important. And so much of our lifestyles these days are just pointless, aimless, just existing. You know what I mean? Like, how many of us start our day off with, like, how we're supposed to, stretching, or with a glass of water instead of coffee? Like, when I was healthiest, um, I would drink 4 bottles of water in the morning before I went to work. And people were always commenting that I'm not hydrated, that I need to drink more. I was like, no, I'm hydrated. I'm taking care of myself. You know what I mean? Like, we have to actually think about these things. Lifestyle is very important, and I dare say the most important thing to yourself. Of course, you have your responsibilities and your family and things like that. Those are obviously important, but I'm talking about like a selfishly, like a just you thing. Lifestyle, health, proper food. So my wife and I, we're actually we're starting our journey together finally, and it's going to be tough because we have to get rid of some things. We might try to figure out what we can donate, but I don't think we can donate a lot of what we got, so we got to eat it. It's getting a little old anyway, so. But anyway, that's beside the point. That's not why I wanted to make this video this morning. I've been thinking a lot about young men, how we are these days, and like our entertainment, like video games, things like that. So yesterday after work, I cleaned the kitchen up and organized and everything, and I had a little bit of time before bed, and my wife was already upstairs. Oh, excuse me. And she was laying down, so I was I'm gonna give her some alone time. I'm gonna stay out here. I'm gonna turn the game on, and pulled up The Witcher 3. And I beat that game again, and man, that is just a masterclass game. Like, there is nothing that comes close to that, topping that, when it comes to story, when it comes to bonding with characters, when it comes to actually being immersed in it. Just imagine if that game, when VR technology gets up there, that game is gonna sell so much, because man, is it written so well. And I'm just thinking, and I'm comparing that to the games we got these days. Like 10 years ago, we were still making some decent games. 20 years ago, we were making great games. But like now, it's all this wimpy, queer, rainbow Skittles unicorn crap, and it's like, it condemns masculinity, and it's like, that's so not real. Like, why would you do that? Most of your audience, most of your customers are men. They're young boys, and when they see these role models, these tough masculine characters that lead, that take responsibility, but also show that they have a tender side, but they're in control and understand who they are, and take that away and replace it with just this wishy-washy crap. What do you expect boys to behave like? Like, their new role models are garbage. They're just trash, and there's no escaping it. Unfortunately, you turn the TV on, it's in our movies, it's on our TV, it's on the radio, It's in magazines and junk mail, and it's in restaurant. It's everywhere, you know? And I'm just, why does everything have to be so just ruined? You know, like, I have nothing against people practicing and expressing themselves. I'm all for that. That's what makes this country as great as it is, even where, though we're diminished, which I'll get more on that, but I'll explain why I said like that. Where it's like there comes a point where you're just pretending because you're lost. You're misguided. You're confused, and it's sad, and that leads to depression. And then you combine that with the typical 9 to 5 crap, with the junk food, the garbage that they pump into us. And it's just, oh, well, no wonder we're so screwed, Everyone's depressed. Everyone's medicated now. Boom. Perfect, numb servant. Just keep your head down. But I'm like, once you've seen that, man, like once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's everywhere. There is a phenomenon, and I don't know the actual I don't remember the actual name of it right now, but I find myself reminiscing about years past, about an age that I wasn't even born in, where like I find just the fantastical and just an attraction to like Art Deco. I love that style. Or old classical music. Like that stuff, it's not weak. It's not wimpy. That stuff is masculine. It's powerful. Like since I mentioned video games, you know the game Remember Us? Remember that song that comes in? Don't Forget. I can't remember the name of it, but it's just somber, emotional, but powerful, strong, masculine. Like it is very, very well written, and that song is just incredible. Now what is it? It's all helium voice anime crap, or super hyper suit wearing Japanese masculine guy that's untouchable, doesn't get hurt but cries. I'm just saying, this is all trash. We have no more role models anymore. And we're in that desperation when we look up to people, anybody that we can, and a lot of us unfortunately don't have parents to do that. And I'm not saying me specifically, but I'm saying people my age, like our generation, younger kids. There's no father figure. There's none. There's nobody to look up to. There's nobody to temper that. There's nobody to steer them, to direct them. So they're lost, and they're rightfully frustrated. They're confused because they don't know any better, and buck up against the world, and the world chews you up, and that spiral of depression keeps going and going and going, and you don't know what to do. You're spinning your wheels, and in a way, I'm doing that, but my mind is clear. Like I see an out. I just have to get there. Thankfully, I had parents. Thankfully, that invested a lot in raising their children. Even when they separated, like they still invested a lot into us. They made sure that we got what we needed, that we were corrected when we were, getting off course. And unfortunately, that's not so common anymore. I'm gonna take a drink real quick. Gotta stay hydrated. I'm gonna be outside all day. And honestly, after I exercised, I'm not even mad that I'm here right now. You know why? Because I feel great. Did I have the healthiest breakfast? No, but I exercised. So it didn't hit me so much because I'm using it. I have an out from here. I know my days here are numbered. I have a leave by date. So I'm not angry with it no more. My life is our future, my wife's future is looking bright, you know. The the thoughts that about the past, reminiscing about times we didn't live in. Why do you think we're so fascinated in the world of fantasy, so to speak, like in books and games of like elves, dwarves, gnomes, witches, mages, wizards, knights, griffins, and all this stuff? It's fantastical. It's ridiculous. But it reflects a time period where men were men, women were women, children could be children. You know, the world was in a more natural state. And there was no phone to like get in the way and ruin it and constantly yank you out of your world, like to yank you out, like and throw you into some other person's garbage. You know, like you weren't hooked into some agenda. You were one with the earth. Like you were literally down in the dirt, feeling. You were moving rocks. You were clearing trees. You were doing things because you were paying attention to the seasons because you needed to. You know, like you needed to know when you can grow things. You needed to know when it was opportune time to hunt for animals, to fish for fish. You know, to know even when to travel, to know when festivals were or when certain important times of the year. Everyone just knew these because it had to be done. It was natural. You had to pay attention. But now, how many of us need to actually pay attention to where our food comes from? Nah, right? Not a lot. And why do you think there's so much trash in it? So much, all this processed oils, these preservatives, there's like 1,000,000 grams of sugar and there's like 1,000,000 grams of salt, and it's all this fake crap that they jam in there, right? And they get away with it because our government's not going to change it. These people make a lot of money off of this stuff, and they lobby people to make sure that they don't get regulated, you know? And we get stuck with the other end of that stick. So when we go to the store, how many of us read the nutrition label? How many of us actually think about, was this cow raised in a pasture or was it in a plant and it never saw the light of day and it was packed so tightly that it couldn't move? And like, just think about that. How many of you have ever actually seen the inside of a chicken plant? Unfortunately, I have. And I'm telling you, it is awful. It is disgusting. It is horrible how these animals are treated. You know, and I'm not a bleeding heart tree hugger or an animal lover, but I do 100% believe that we should respect where our food comes from, respect the animals that are actually sacrificing so we can have quality food, quality nutrition. I'm going to tell you, the chicken houses, those chickens are force fed. They're force fed this garbage food because they're paid by weight. So they want them to be fat, right? They want them to have the highest amount of weight when they sell so they get more money. And for the farmer, that makes sense. You know what I mean? And it's not like the farmer is choosing to do that. The farmer has to because of regulations, because of all these companies, the government. But anyway, back more on that later. The chicken plants. These chickens are so fat and they're packed in there so tightly that their legs cannot support their own weight. They literally die. They literally like sit there, and they have to clean out all these chickens that don't make it because they sit there and just wither away. You know what I mean? Like it is awful, and all this stuff after that chicken's processed. What do you think you're eating? You're eating the hormones that are pumped into it, all the genetically modified food those things are force fed, and there's not a lot of nutrition in it because they didn't get to actually be a chicken. You know, they were treated like crap. They were just thrown in there. Never saw the light of day. They're stressed, they're scared, they're tired. You know what I mean? And it's the same with every animal now. It's terrible. And even if you think you're vegan and you're gonna be healthy like that, think again, because what you're eating is genetically modified, highly processed, pumped full of preservatives and oils. You know what I mean? Like you have it actually worse off, because our bodies fully digest meat. That's the only thing our bodies 100% completely digest. Period. And I'm not gonna have any argument about that, because it is what it is. You can't change that. You know, I'm like, don't want to go on like a super tangent or anything, because I kind of already have, I guess. But we need to pay attention to the world. We need to, and I mean like the natural one. We need to go back to a more natural lifestyle. That's why we imagine these times in the past where we believed, and just like, wow, we got to be humans then, and like these phones right here and the TVs, all that crap has just ruined us as a species. We're so focused on what somebody said about so and so or whatever, and you're never going to meet any of these people that are passing rumors around or talking or whatever. You're never going to meet them. Chances are, unless you're one of the few people that watch this, you're never going to meet me. You're just going to see me on this screen. But I'm telling you, man, or lady or whoever, stop being hooked into this thing all the time. Like, you put it down. Get out of your house. Go sit under an apple tree. Go to the park. Walk your dog. Like, try to have a life. Have a healthier lifestyle. Try to figure out what'll work for you. Imagine it. We don't have to escape into these garbage video games and numb ourselves with this crap food. And there's a path out. There are several paths out. And every one of them is, got its own obstacles and struggles. And the one I took, I don't even, it wasn't even the worst one. It wasn't the best one, but it's definitely not the worst one. 10.5 years is what it took to get where I am. 10.5. My entire adult life has been on this path without me even knowing. You know what I mean? And now I finally have that chance to change it. I'm finally almost free, man. Finally almost there. And we all can be. We all deserve to be. We all deserve to live a more natural, humanistic life, So, instead of imagining a life free of all this crap, think of a way that you're strong in, something you're good at, something you want to be, that you can do well. Then use that. Try to direct yourself to find a way out. Because we're going to end up just like those chickens, just like those pigs and cows. Once we're too used up and broken to move on, we're just going to be thrown aside. Just like all the other slop that gets force-fed to them. So, sorry to end on a note like that, but I have to head in now. Hopefully I have a good mood the rest of the day too, but yeah. I guess just think about those things if you're struggling. Share this with people that might need to hear it, Please do. And I'm not saying it to blow my channel up. I'm not saying it for that. But I'm saying there's people out there that are maybe too scared or unsure of whether they should bet on themselves. I'm telling you, bet on yourself. Always bet on yourself. Because if you try to let other people do everything for you, do the work for you, do the thinking for you, you will never be free. And you will always be doing as they wish, regardless of what you think. It's just how it is. But anyway, until next time.